There is a strange continent on this planet whose sheer size is so immense that two countries the size of India could easily fit within it. Yet, the most surprising fact is that more than 90% of this vast land remains empty to this day. There are no cities, no villages, and not even roads in these areas. Instead, one finds an endless desert of red soil, scorching winds, and a haunting silence. While India houses thousands of people per square kilometer, one can search for hundreds of kilometers in Australia without finding a single trace of a human being. This is not a fictional tale, but the harsh reality of Australia. One must wonder why such a massive land remains vacant, whether nature rejected life there or if a catastrophic event wiped out a civilization. The answer lies not just in the desert sands, but in a stolen history and destroyed cultures. Looking at the map, Australia is the world's sixth largest country, spanning approximately 7.7 million square kilometers. Despite this massive territory, its total population is only about 26 million. For comparison, India's population is nearly 1.4 billion, meaning Australia's entire population is smaller than that of a small Indian state like Goa. However, the true shock is that over 90% of Australians live on just 0.22% of the land. The population is almost entirely confined to coastal cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. As one moves into the interior of the country, life becomes nearly impossible. To understand the reasons behind this emptiness, we must look back thousands of years. Before the British arrived, Australia was inhabited by Aboriginal Australians who lived in harmony with nature. Their culture was unique, and they had no concept of land ownership, believing instead that the earth belonged to everyone. While Europeans first spotted the continent in 1606, the turning point came on January 26, 1788, when British ships landed at Botany Bay. Finding no kings, forts, or standing armies, the British applied the legal doctrine of Terra Nullius, meaning land belonging to no one. By declaring the land ownerless, they claimed it for themselves. Britain did not view Australia as a commercial hub like India. Rather, they saw it as a penal colony. They used the distant continent as a place to exile and punish criminals from Britain. Between 1788 and 1868, approximately 160,000 convicts were transported there, fundamentally altering the demographic makeup of the land. The British began their occupation without ever consulting the indigenous inhabitants. Along with guns and ammunition, they brought invisible enemies in the form of diseases like smallpox, measles, and chickenpox. Because the Aboriginal people had zero immunity to these foreign illnesses, nearly 50% of their population died within a single year, with some areas seeing a 90% loss. Historians often refer to this as a form of biological genocide, as the British possessed medicines but did not provide treatment to the natives. The occupation grew from a quest for small plots of land to the seizure of vital water resources. The British banned indigenous hunting and forced the native people into slavery, subjecting men to hard labor and women to horrific abuse. This led to an uprising in 1795, but the Aboriginal people could not withstand modern weaponry. Over a century of conflict, hundreds of thousands of indigenous people lost their lives, and a population that once numbered 3.5 million plummeted to just 300,000. This systemic exclusion was furthered in 1901 by the White Australia Policy, a series of racial exclusion laws designed to stop non-Europeans from entering the country and to keep the population density low by favoring only European immigrants. Beyond history, geography plays a major role in Australia's emptiness. The continent is divided into three main zones: the Western Plateau, which covers 70% of the land and consists of arid desert where agriculture is impossible; the Central Lowlands, filled with salt lakes and basins where the soil is too salty for plants to grow;
and the Eastern Highlands. This third region is the only fertile part of Australia with consistent rainfall and rivers, which explains why the entire population is concentrated there. The climate is notoriously erratic. El Niño causes devastating droughts that cost billions in agricultural losses. In 2017, the state of Queensland was even officially declared a drought state. Water scarcity remains the greatest challenge in the Australian outback. What little groundwater exists is often saline, making it impossible to build large cities. Even today, small inland townships must have water delivered by massive tankers or through incredibly expensive long-distance pipelines. In these uninhabited regions, a unique kingdom of wildlife reigns. It is a land where kangaroos and koalas are joined by some of the world's most venomous snakes and spiders. In fact, kangaroos far outnumber humans, with some areas hosting hundreds of animals per square kilometer without a single human soul in sight. Ultimately, we must realize that Australia is not empty by nature alone. It was emptied. Once, millions of indigenous people lived there in balance with the environment. The current emptiness is the result of a combination of colonial history, racial policies, and harsh geographical realities. Australia's story is not just one of a desert, but of a culture that suffered great injustice. While the modern Australian government now issues apologies and works to integrate Indigenous communities, the scars of history remain visible as the vast, empty spaces on the map.